help. I have a buyer who's got some crazy unrealistic expectations about a product or service that I sell, and they want insane discounts. What do? I'm Scott Sylvan Bell. It is October 29th, 2017, 7:18 at night here in Orlando, Florida. Perfect day to talk about sales. I got to tell you, I wish I was outside. It's really windy outside. You know, the sun's already set, so I figure there's nobody here at this side of the building. I'm going to come shoot some videos. So let's talk about it. You know, there's going to be times where no matter what product, no matter what service, no matter what you sell, there's going to be somebody who comes to you and says, you know, it's $10,000. I want to pay $7,000. And you know, it's just, that's how they are. That's the way that they make buying decisions. And their hope is that at some point they're going to come across somebody who says, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. And you know, you've got a lot of options when it comes to the world of sales, but I will tell you this: most salespeople fold. They get really lazy. The second that they get any type of difficulties, they quit. They give up. They look at the person and they say, "You're being too difficult. Go over there." Well, you know, if you really want to pick up those sales, if you really want to do what everybody else can't, you might have to take a little bit of time with that person and have a conversation with them and show them, you know, why you're better. You could do things like anchoring, and you know, you could always check out Tom Vazzini at persuasioncodes.com. Tom is the best that I know of at teaching anchoring, and that's one way to deal with it too. But you know, I bring this up a lot, and I brought it up a lot recently in a lot of my videos because it's so true. It's not you against, you know, 100% of the salespeople out there. It's you against like maybe 5 or 6% who are the best. So like 80% of salespeople shouldn't be in the sales market. They're inherently lazy. They suck. That's not you. You're watching a YouTube video. You're doing what you can to get better. So that's not you. But you know, almost like the guy who's sitting over there or the guy who's over there playing video games on his phone when he should be working, right? And he's not doing anything to learn. That's not your competition. It's not my competition. That guy or that girl over there is just really lazy. And a lot of times, you know, especially if you're struggling, it's like, oh, if I spend time, energy, and effort with them, I'm going to miss my next sale. Well, if you have that mindset and you get caught up in that, you're always going to miss sales, right? So like there's times where like I'm a very impatient buyer. I like to walk in and I'm like, which one's cool? I like that one. I'll take it, right? That's just how I am, but not everybody's like me. I'm like the unicorn buyer that everybody wants to meet and everybody wants to deal with for most of the things that I buy, right? But sometimes I have a lot of questions. I want to take a look. So like when I went out and bought a car, I've got a back injury, and I test drove tons of cars, and like the salespeople were like, well, what are we gonna have to do to get you in a car today? And I'm like, look, here's the thing. You don't understand. I've got problems with my L4 and my L5, right? And for me, I have a list of requirements, and on the top of those list of requirements is comfortable seats. So I don't care how cool your car is. I don't care about the rebates. I don't care about the payments. I don't care about like all the typical stuff that you worry about. I'm worried about how comfortable I'm going to be. And they were like, well, you know, and they try to use sales tactics and strategy. I'm like, time out. You know, I'm a sales trainer. I've got 1,600 videos on YouTube. I know what you're going to say before you say it. I even know what you're going to do before I walk in the door. You got to know that there are people that have different reasons that they're going to buy stuff, and they're not your reasons. They're not the reasons that you want to do it, okay? So if you get caught up that I met with a difficult buyer and and this is the price that they want, there are some industries where you're just like, you know what, out of volume, I'm just going to sell it to you, you know, and I'll take the referrals and I'll do what I can with it. But most salespeople, they look at that person, they're like, no way, I'm not going to talk to you, I'm not going to do anything with you. And you know, the cool thing for you is you could pick up that client, you could scoop them up off the market where everybody else was being lazy and they didn't want to do the work. So this is a long way of saying, there are times in your market for depending upon what you do, depending upon your flexibility, you can pick that guy or that girl up and sell them their product that good. And you know what? What you're going to find with closers is they base everything off of money and off of momentum. And the way that they look at it is like, look, maybe I didn't make any money on that deal, but I closed it, right? Maybe I didn't get the money that I wanted from that deal, but I was able to close it, and I'm able to walk away now and go to my next one and go, hey, that last one wasn't perfect, but you know what? I'm going to celebrate all wins because I closed that one when nobody else would have, right? And then they get to the next one and they're like, hey, I sold it and I made a bunch of gross, or I made a bunch of profit, whatever term you use in your industry, right? And they're like, yay me. And then they go through 5 or 6 more deals and they made some money, and then they meet somebody who isn't the perfect buyer and they want everything for cheap and they want every major discount. But you know what? You're going to find that closers, they don't come up with the excuse. You don't hear a closer go, hey, I've got a 97% closing rate, and you're like 4 or 5% of that were difficult buyers. They're like, no, they brag. I got a 97% closing rate because I'm good at what I do. Whatever that number is, they don't put an asterisk next to it, okay? But remember, most salespeople are lazy. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to put in the effort because it is work and effort, and it's tough for them. And you know, they would much rather sit around and joke around with their friends and go, I didn't want to sell to that guy or that girl because they were difficult. You got a lot of room. So when you have somebody and they put a whole bunch of requirements, I know this happens a lot in the car industry where people will send like an email, this is what I'm looking for, and you know, you guys make this much margin, I don't want you to make any money on your car, right? that guy's going to buy from somebody. That girl's going to buy from somebody. And are you going to look at it and go, hey, I'm going to laugh at that, or are you going to sell it? It's not up to me. That's up to you. You got to make that decision. I can't make it for you. And I mean, even happens in in-home sales. I remember there was times where I'd walk into a room, into a house, and they'd have like 15 proposals on the table, and they say, we're shopping on lowest price. Well, I had options at that point. I could stick it out and go, like, you know what? Peace out. I'm done. I can't help you. Or I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick in the fire. I'm going to prove to them why that option isn't really going to help them. I'm going to prove to them why that's not a good choice for them and why that's actually going to get them in trouble. And I'll tell you, there were times where I lost that deal, and I was cool with it because I did my job. And there was times where I went in and I sold that job, and I wasn't the lowest guy. I wasn't the guy with the cheapest price. I was the guy that showed them why that was a bad option for them. So whatever you're going to do is going to take work and effort, but most people aren't willing to do it, right? That's the benefit for you. They don't want to. They don't want to take that time. They don't want to put in that energy. They don't want to put in that effort, because for them, if they put in time, energy, or effort, that means they could be rejected. That means that they can go, oh, you know what, that hurt and it wasn't good for me. So stick in the game, stick in the sale, right? Work it out. But no, not everybody is your buyer. There's going to be times where you hit a rough spot and it's just going to go, look, I can't make that work, right? You gotta know your numbers, but be willing to stick in the call longer than anybody else. And I know people are like, hey, Scott, will you tell me which way to do this? Here's the way you do it. You stick in as long as you can, doing as much as you can to make that sale. But then there's points where you just got to go, I can't. But if you just look at something and you're like, hey, look, I got this piece of paper right here, and this is the requirements for the guy, make the phone call, talk to him, have him come in. And in the case when I was doing in-home sales, I went to a lot of calls where people were like, I'm going to be super difficult. The notes would say, this guy says he's going to be super difficult. And you know what? A lot of times they weren't. They were doing that out of fear. A lot of times, like, the crazy notes that people give you are out of fear to see if someone's going to play ball or play chicken or whatever word you want to use. So why not have the conversation with them instead of getting caught up on, like, I'm not going to make enough money on this. Get some momentum. So there you go. Now, if you could do a small favor for me in the box down below, leave a comment, question, or story, that'd be fantastic. To the right, to the left, there's a subscribe button. You know what you got to do. You got to subscribe. And then you can send it out to all your friends via StumbleUpon, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Why not even link to Scott Sylvan Bell. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Aloha.